My name is Lem Charleston. I'm running for the 31st District Senate seat as well. But I'd first and foremost like to take the opportunity to express my heartfelt condolences for the family and friends of Officer Diego Moreno, as well as the police officers of the Kent Police Department who faced some really tough trauma and challenges this week. I'm running for office here because I see things that are going on in this district. I understand that they can be done better, and I'm just not satisfied with the way that they're going right now. I'd like you all to know that I'm not a Democratic or party insider. I'm normally a minister, and I work at Boeing. I'm an FAA coordinator who makes sure that the drawings and the airplanes are taken care of with an incredible, meticulous attention to detail. I'm running because I think we can change a lot of things. I think that we can do a lot better. We certainly have the intelligence and the ability and the skill sets all around us from West Seattle all the way to White Center to take care of the homelessness that we have right now, to take care of the drug use that we have right now, to lower the property taxes and create affordable housing. There are programs that exist all over this country that we can tap into and get those experiences brought up here so that we can actually move forward and make this an even better place to live. Not just an expensive place to live, but a better place to live. And as a person who's not a career politician and someone who's had to work in the ministry and look outside the box, I think our creativity has to come to bear when we examine a current condition. We need to be able to understand that current condition and then look for remedies. There are times that you can't deal with a problem until you understand the problem. That means you have to face the problem, get involved in the problem, and then go to work. The problems that we have in this district, we had them 5 years ago. What we want to not do is continue to elect politicians that are not going to fix the things that we want fixed. We're the constituency. We're the ones that have the power of the vote. I don't think we should be electing politicians who have no intention of changing things. And when you want change, that means you got to stand up for it. And the best way to get change is to be that change you want to see. Thank you. I had a small business when I was a kid. I used to be a janitor and had his own business cleaning the banks. Small business owners have a real good perspective on taking care of their families. One of the things I think that we need to do as legislators is better educate our small businesses of all the things that are available to them. They have I-200 I went down originally fighting for an affirmative action. It's now I-1000. It's going to make it a lot easier once it passes for small businesses and women and minorities to be able to get a leg up and to get going. I think that they are undereducated on all the things available to them. In 1992 or 93, I-1493 was passed that had special funding for small businesses and women and minorities. I think we need to let those folks know that and give them sometimes the same type of breaks, maybe on a different scale that we give our large companies. Because in my opinion, small businesses are just as important to a community as large businesses are to a city or a state. Business. In all reality, we teach our kids to get their work done before they go play. A stadium arena for the sports event is somewhere where people play. It's where we enjoy ourselves and have fun. And you've got to ride through countless amount of blue tents, blue tarps of homeless people. I don't know about you, but that bothers me deep inside. I'm going to go spend 40, 50, 150 bucks to have a wonderful time, and I can even give half of that and wouldn't mind giving half of that to a homeless person. My sisters always tease me because they say I look like I have sucker or stupid written on my face because homeless walk up and I just give them what I have. Because I understand their plight. My campaign manager and I spent quite a bit of time with the homeless. And the real answer to the homeless is a tough one for us to hear. But honestly, I believe that taking care of a stadium is trumped by taking care of your homeless people. You can tell the character of a district or of a society if they want to take care of somewhere to play, whereas instead of taking care of people who need things. There's a lot of things we can do with tax breaks, and one of the things we can do with our taxes is take care of the homeless first, and then go play. The reality is we're discussing $15 an hour as a livable wage. It is not in this district. We got to be realistic. The livable wage in this district is about 29 bucks an hour, believe it or not. Small businesses can't pay that. We need to get incentives to let small businesses get the help they need and the breaks they need so that they can pay their employees enough to be able to live here in Seattle. Years ago, Boeing started hiring again. We had people on welfare that worked at Boeing. It's a head shaker and a head scraper when you kind of say, well, you're working at Boeing. Well, $15 an hour is not enough. Not when apartment buildings are $1,900 to $2,300 a month. That's very, very real. We got people staying with their parents well into their 30s, not because they're lazy and deadbeats like we were years and years ago, but they just can't afford to buy a house. They can't afford to get an apartment. I think we ought to inform our small businesses of all the advantages that they should take advantage of, so that they can pay that $15 an hour, and so that people can have a minimum wage. We have to balance the livable wage with how much it costs to live here in order to make this a thriving community. The cons, of course, are the property taxes and the different things that would overtake some of the housing and the businesses here. I understand the pros and I understand the cons as benefits and detractions to being annexed. White Center has always been out there by itself all the way back into the 20s, when those bootlegging days, when they were just on the edge, when people were just out here to kick it. And even when I was young, I used to come ready to kick it too, because it was just that kind of a place. They're not going to maintain their autonomy for long, not in this economic environment. So I think, like Hillary said, you'd have to meet with all the business owners and find a middle ground between the pros and cons to find out which direction they should go, because they cannot continue to go and sustain this type of environment for much longer. Wait, a brighter day is coming. That's not going to happen. You have to lean on your legislators to get that McCleary situation squared away, because it's not. The teachers know best and very, very well what's being sent their way and what's being spent. I have 2 kids that are in school, and the stuff my wife and I have to buy before school starts is appalling. They give us a list of things that we have to buy, which is no problem having to buy them. The shame is this is a huge population, or a very, very wealthy city. Why are parents who are sending their kids to public school buying supplies that the school should be able to supply? If we're really serious about getting the best education and the best educators for our kids, number one, we need to get that McCleary thing flattened out once and for all. We need to be able to pay our teachers fair and decent wages. We need to be able to supply our schools with everything they need without relying on the parents. You know, our education system isn't the best in the world. The highest paid teachers don't even live in the United States. They're in Luxembourg, and their salaries are from $80,000 to $175,000 a year to teach their children. And at the end of the day, when it comes to buying or paying for anything, you always get what you pay for. Well, as a police chaplain, there are a lot of things that the lieutenant will ask us to do that his officers can do, but it frees them up to do other things. We get to see a lot of the ugly side. De-escalating is one fantastic thing, of course, as long as both sides can get together and understand. But as a person of color, a brother, I got more concerns about being pulled over than a lot of folks sitting here right now. And it shouldn't be that way. A lot of that comes from a lack of understanding, a lack of empathy. And for law enforcement, some of the best training I've got as a chaplain, and I got to be honest with you, has come as a chaplain through the law enforcement. They give them spectacular education, spectacular classes. I think there needs to be more funding for that type of education. One of the reasons that I am a chaplain is because the Seattle Police Department decided to bring clergy within a community to become associate chaplains with the chaplain of the Seattle Police Department. Most of you don't ever want to see me come to your door unless I have candy in my hand, but bottom line is the Seattle Police Department has reached out to the community, and we've got to be able to squash that misunderstanding between the blue and the black and the brown folks to get us to all work together and live, because we have to live together. One of us shouldn't be afraid of one another. Police officers shouldn't be afraid to pull a taser or anything like that to protect themselves or protect anyone else. I think a lack of understanding is probably the biggest crime that we are facing right now, and we're intelligent enough to sit down peacefully and get that understanding. I think that's something that we should do. That platform, my belief is that if you've got the money to build a multi-million-dollar correctional facility just for children, and heaven forbid we put children in jails where adults are, you've got the money to ensure that they never have to go to a correctional facility. My philosophy is a youth jail is a community fail. That old adage about it takes a village to raise a child is very, very true and incredibly accurate. My children are known by my entire neighborhood, so if they go and they break something or mess something, or the dog's chasing somebody through a yard, they'll come tell me about it. But it takes an entire community to have it, and they do that, trust me. And it takes a community, let the community take care of the kids. No, don't lock the kids up, because it's a really bad thing to have a jail for children in your community. That's telling the parents that, hey, look, you ain't got to raise them all the way. If you can't handle them, we can. If you got the money to build a correctional facility for children, you got the money to see that they never need to go to any of those. This describes AIDS, health, things that needs to be taken care of. If you really want to end homelessness, you got to stop making it a business. And we're not going to be able to stop making it a business. I used to hope that we could wipe it out completely. But right now, homelessness is big business right now, believe it or not. We haven't actually realized what type of business it is, but all the volunteer agencies that are set up around homelessness cost money. It costs the Seattle area $10 million a year to clean up after homeless camps. It costs Seattle as a city itself over $1 million to clean up homelessness. As a matter of fact, each homeless camp runs on about a budget of about $250,000. Any situation that ails anybody in this country, being in a capitalist society, becomes an industry. Homelessness is on its way to becoming an industry. You know, Eisenhower warned us back 58 years ago that war would become an industry, and war is now big business. If you look at all the companies around it, the politicians around it, bombs, airplanes, aircraft carriers, that's all costs big money. Homelessness is going to be with us for a while. And anytime you have a business, the best way to get it under control is to manage it. I believe you can manage homelessness until it's out of business. That's going to take some time. That's going to take some education. That's going to take some patience and understanding, but I think it can be done. I'd like to address the Tawama's tribe being made federally accurate. The city's named after this guy. When folks came in from the East Coast, they were the different ones. It was the Seattle tribe, the chief we call Seattle, that chose not to have those guys executed by his tribe members, and eventually ended up into the city we have right now. And the city we have right now has a whole lot of problems, which is why I run for Senate. I see a lot of problems. I see a lot of solutions. This brilliant panel up here has a lot of solutions, and we all have a whole lot of ideas. Unfortunately, none of us have ever been elected to office before, so we would be coming in with fresh ideas, which is usually a good thing. I believe that we can do a whole lot better with our legislation. I can believe we can get better understanding with our constituents. I believe that we should work together with the folks in these districts so that we can solve the problems of each and every area in the 34th. It's an incredibly diverse district with a plethora of different living environments. My candidate and I spent a substantial amount of time at Second Chance Homeless Place Center down there on Myers Way, and the stories they have to tell you how they got there aren't the ones that we always think happened. There is mental illness, but not to the degree that we believe. Substance abuse is a result of no detox centers here. There are a lot of things that we can do that existing states already do that we can piggyback on so we can end a lot of the trauma and drama that goes with homelessness here. That's one of my passions here as well. And as a minister, I used to feed those folks myself. We need to bolster up the education here to pay the teachers properly so that they can actually teach our kids what they need to know, because we have to understand that the folks that are teaching our kids today, those kids are going to be the future of this district tomorrow.